Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Airspeed Reads Naruto video. This one is going to be for volume 46 of the manga, which is called Naruto Returns. Straight away, let's talk about the cover a little bit. Interesting cover, Kakashi on the front, Pain in the background, and then Naruto's just kind of a little bit there. I like this cover, obviously given what happens to Kakashi, very emotional, but when I finished this volume, I ultimately was like, okay, they call it Naruto Returns. Why isn't Sage Mode Naruto on the front of this cover? Why isn't that really amazing moment from the anime? Like, I would definitely cite the Naruto arriving on the battlefield here as one of my favorite kind of Naruto moments, full stop. Admittedly, he arrives, he doesn't fully expect a battle, he kind of knows something's up, but I still think it should have been Sage Mode Naruto. Naruto with the red cloak, Sage Mode eyes on the front cover. Like, even the back, they don't even show Sage Mode Naruto. So it's kind of weird. Like, I had a brief look at the volume 47 and 48 covers, and they don't feature Sage Mode Naruto either. So it's kind of like the big moment for Naruto using that power isn't really featured on a cover, and I'm a little annoyed by that, because I do think that's one of the most notable looks for Naruto across the entire series, that in original Sage Mode kind of look with the cloak. I just thought it was such an impactful moment, as I'll get into discussing, but I still like this cover, again, given that we do get the death of Kakashi in this volume. It's somewhat fitting that he's on the cover here, though I think the manga didn't really emphasize his death as much as the anime did. I definitely felt more impact in the anime, but briefly before I get into discussing the volume, I'm getting pretty close to finishing this box set of Naruto. So this is the manga box set for 28 to 48, and obviously we're on 46, which means we only have two more volumes to go. I don't know if I actually showed this off, but I do have the this and then the volume 3 box set, which is why I have the other manga volumes. So there they are. I don't think I showed that off before, but just letting you guys know that. So my aim is to try to have 47 and 48 out before the end of the year. I really want to make sure I get that done, just so I finish that box set and I can move on to the last one for 2017, and then obviously the aim would be to finish the series at some point in 2017. But yeah, let's get back to volume 46. So, cover another 10 chapters, 423 to 432. Tendo's ability, determination, Hatake Kakashi, Naruto and Konoha reunion, discourse, no pain, Naruto returns, Naruto's magnificent explosion, and return of the Rasen Shuriken. Overall, really good volume. It's primarily a battle fight focused volume, and I think this is one of the best fight focused volumes that we've actually had. You've probably noticed in recent times when there's been 5 volumes, I haven't been as excited about them, but I think this one was executed particularly well. I think the selection of chapters for this volume just works so well, in that you get Pain assaulting the Leaf Village and him being relatively unopposed, Kakashi standing up to him, Tsunade limiting the damage, but overall it being just the sheer power of Pain overpowering the Leaf Village. And so it's a very kind of emotional time, and then Naruto returns at such a key moment and instantly showcases how powerful he is, being able to take out some of Pain's bodies in single blows potentially, and so he I think easily kind of quickly takes out the first 3 early on in the fight as he demonstrates all of his new powers. One of the best kind of entrances into a battlefield I've seen in any anime ever. Just Naruto and how he kind of temporarily overpowers Pain in this early part of the fight. Really impactful, but the whole time that he has a limit on Sage Mode, but he's sort of figured out a plan on how to deal with that, and then how that ends up working out is going to be I assume next volume. But just very impactful, just how they build up to the like need for Naruto's arrival, and the hope that's given, and the various things that they cover. But let's get into some specifics here. So obviously where we ended off last time out was Kakashi revealing that his initial scuffle with Pain was actually him kind of just learning stuff about Pain, that he was mainly using shadow clones and lightning clones, not actually involving himself. Choza arrives, and very quickly the first kind of couple of chapters are focusing on learning about Tendo Pain's powers, the push and pull, and how exactly it works. And what they figure out is that once he uses it, there's a 5-second time delay before he can use it again, and it's very hard to kind of make him activate his ability and then get to him and do something to him to stop him in that time period. Kakashi, Choza, and Choji, who arrives into the battlefield, do some really good work to try and get an advantage over him. There's a really cool moment with the two human boulders in the chain, and they try and grab him. But then one of the other Pains, which they thought they had taken out, turns out to be kind of actually still active, takes the hit, and you can sort of see that the one Pain that they're trying to protect is Tendo Pain over all of the other ones. So there's a certain preference for him over the others. And then early on we get the initial thought of death of Kakashi as the kind of the repulsion of the nail into his head, but the reveal later on that he used the Mangekyo Sharingan to transport it away to a different dimension. Really cool how he does that. One of the other notable ones is just it's only 2 pages in like the entire chapter, but it's just as Tsunade is basically activating Katsuyu to help heal the village, to limit the damage. Danzo in the background is obviously making plans with the Foundation and so on, and he's basically saying, you know, the era of Lady Tsunade will come to an end. You know, I've stopped Naruto from being able to enter the battlefield by killing the messenger toad, and the idea here being that Pain's attack won't kill everyone in the village because of what Tsunade is doing, but they will be sacrifices to basically allow me to become Hokage. So he's basically sacrificed so much of the village to allow himself to become Hokage because he feels that that will be the best way to actually run the village. And he's just using the fact that Tsunade right now, her skills will mean that there still is a village left for Danzo to actually rule over. And then we also have in the background the continued investigation into Pain to discover what the message on Lord Fugaku's back actually is about. And we have Ino's father going into the mind of, you know, one of the enemy ninjas that was captured. We have Shizune continuing to do the autopsy on the Pain body that they have, and the eventual reveal that comes out is that the chakra receivers that are in the bodies are actually chakra receivers put into dead bodies, and it is actually someone, not one of the 6 bodies that we've seen that use the individual powers, but there is a 7th person who is transmitting chakra to these 6 bodies, and that is the real Pain. That is why, you know, the real one is not among them. That's what it means. That the 6 paths of Pain aren't actually Pain. The real Pain is actually transmitting the chakra from somewhere else, and that's what they figure out here. So that's a really interesting reveal on how they actually come to actually realize that. And the information comes out as the other Pains are obviously rampaging around the village, trying to stop all of this information from coming out, and so on. After that, we basically get to the death of Kakashi scene, in that the attack with the chains and the human boulder doesn't actually work, and what happens is that the almighty push that Pain uses has basically trapped almost everyone in rubble. Choji thinks his father is dead. Kakashi is kind of completely trapped, he can't even move. Choji is relatively unhurt, but is kind of obviously sitting there in shock at what happened to his father. And Kakashi basically just reveals that he's still alive, and kind of has to kind of get Choji going, you know, like, if you can still move, get the report on this Pain's ability to Tsunade, and we can set up countermeasures. And Choji is kind of forced to leave Kakashi behind to basically die at the hands of Pain. But as he goes to run, one of the Pains that has the kind of more mechanical features fires a rocket at Choji, And Kakashi basically reveals that, like, okay, I have to use this technique once more, but I'll drain myself completely dry and will die, but it will help this information to get out and help everyone else in the village. So he uses his power to save Choji, but in the process dies. And it is very emotional how they do it, and that uses the Mangako Sharingan, drains his chakra, and then we see as we end this chapter, well, it seems this is it for me too, Obito Rin. So as far as he's aware, he's finally going to join his friends who've died prior to him. And we start the next chapter with basically a flashback to Obito and Rin, to this generation of kids in Konoha, and how, I couldn't even protect Rin, I broke my promise, please forgive me. And we see him as he's, like, I suppose, about to move into the afterlife, and he encounters his father right there, and they basically sit down and, like, oh, so this is where you are, and his father asks him, tell me your tale about what happened, and he's kind of accepted his death, and it's kind of like, oh, this is a kind of bonus of dying, that I finally get to talk to my father about what happened. And I think this is what makes this kind of ultimately fake out death for a main character work out really well, and that obviously what happens as the Pain Nagato stuff is resolved, everyone's revived, of course, but what makes this work is this moment, that you are not just teasing the death of Kakashi here, you actually have him die, basically, and have this moment with his father within the series, because otherwise, like, it's very hard to do that without kind of, oh, you get a portal to the afterlife and have them meet up. In this case, it's like, no, he died and got to contact his father before being revived, and it's just a nice moment that, like, his father, the death of his father, and what that meant, and the details behind it were kind of what made Kakashi who he was, and so kind of talking to him is such an important thing. But the other side of this is that we cut to back to Naruto, is that he still obviously doesn't know what's going on in the village. He doesn't know that it's under attack. The frog, of course, the toad who was about to be sent to him was obviously killed. So where he is in his training now, he's still doing his secret training in the background. But the key thing that he needs to do is basically figure out a way to keep his Sage mode active, to kind of counteract the fact that it has a timer. So they're planning to do the same thing that Jiraiya did, where he had Ma and Pa on his shoulders, and they would kind of stay still for him and get in the nature energy while he is active. But when they go to do that, we get the pretty important reveal that this can't work because he can't sync up with Naruto, because Naruto has the Nine Tails in him. The Nine Tails rejects it. So this can't actually work, and the obviously eventual solution comes from the fact that it's the idea of, like, you need to be able to look left and right at the same time. Shadow clones, of course, and we're still left at the end of this volume wondering what exactly Naruto has done to get around this kind of issue of when his Sage Jutsu runs out, but you sort of know it's going to involve clones to some degree, and that you've sort of figured it out. But yeah, the next, I suppose, important thing is that one of the other Pains who has the ability to basically ask someone a question, and if they tell a lie, he basically can take their soul out and kind of kill them. He's kind of patrolling around the kind of back streets of the village, asking questions, asking everyone the whole idea of, is Uzumaki Naruto still in this village? Where is he? Because that's what Pain is trying. That's what Pain is in the village for. He's trying to get the Nine-tailed fox to put into the Gedo statue to complete the whole thing for the Akatsuki. This is basically we obviously know that they still need to get the 8 tails because Sasuke only got part of the 8 tails, but realistically the last Jinchuriki they still need to get. And one of the people that this Pain encounters is Ebisu and Konohamaru. They're basically next, and about to be kind of taken out. And we get a big moment from Ebisu. Obviously, like, we haven't seen him in ages, but he is a reasonably important person with regards to Naruto, in that early in the series he's like the key person in the village who is a higher up jonin, who just kind of has very little respect for Naruto, that, oh, he's just a nine-tailed fox, he has no skill, and is the most kind of down on his powers. But now we're at the point where Ebisu respects Naruto, and I like what they do here in that we get it kind of from Konohamaru and Ebisu's perspective, but just the way the village saw Naruto over the entire series up to now. This is a scene I really like in the anime, and I really like how it's done here. It's just this flashback with narration of just basically random villagers talking about how they see Naruto at various points in the series. So, early on, when he becomes a genin, the fox kid shouldn't become a shinobi. What's Lord Third thinking? Then when they come back from the Zabuza mission, I heard Team Kakashi, I heard they defeated the terrorist Zabuza. Naruto was at the center of it. He made it to the final of the Chunin exams. He beat a Hyuga. He defended the village from the Sand Jinchuriki. He helped Jiraiya get Tsunade as our 5th Hokage. And then, most importantly, the shift in the village of, he couldn't bring his friend Sasuke back. I hope Naruto's okay. The Akatsuki are after him. They begin to become worried about Naruto. He rescued the Kazukage from the Akatsuki. Has he brought peace between the two nations? The Akatsuki killed Jiraiya. Is Naruto alright? And then, he hasn't lost heart. He's going to keep going. He's one of us. That it's finally the village has got to this point where they have accepted and acknowledged Naruto. And it's a really big moment. I don't think this can be underestimated in terms of what the series is ultimately about. Naruto's goal to become Hokage, in that now he basically has that. That he just needs more experience, more training, and obviously age, maturity. But he fundamentally has the whole idea that was presented at the start, that the village kind of chooses their Hokage. It's not the Hokage becomes the leader and that's it. That you have to kind of have the people behind you to be the Hokage, and they are now acknowledging Naruto, and it's a really big moment. And so again, it just adds to the whole build-up of just Ebisu refusing to answer this Pain who can basically take his soul out. And this is stopped by Konohamaru arriving and, him getting a pretty big moment. But before we cut back to the details that happen there, we get Choji reporting to Tsunade. He gives the information. It's revealed that Choza is actually still alive. He's just badly injured. But the Katsuyu kind of clone that is with him will keep him alive. But unfortunately, confirmation, Kakashi is dead. So really, really kind of strong moments consistently happening here, as so many things are happening. Tendo Pain confronts Tsunade on top of the the Hokage office, and we get Konohamaru's big moment where he uses the Rasengan. He gets captured, but it's actually a shadow clone, and then he comes up behind one of the Pains and uses the Rasengan after the reveal that kind of flashback. During a moment from part 1, Naruto actually taught Konohamaru the basics of the Rasengan, and he now is using it here pretty effectively to... He doesn't destroy this kind of Pain, but it does enough damage to kind of keep it out of action for a while. And yeah, we start to get more talking from Pain as we go on here. And he talks, the whole idea, he's a god who restores order, and he's consistently talking about the whole idea of war and pain and understanding what that means, and he's calling her arrogant for daring to say that the various ninja villages who are participating in these wars have also felt pain, and so on. And it's really interesting because it fundamentally comes down to the idea of we're doing this to protect Naruto, but what she says is, what you desire most you shall never have. If you think that Konoha Shinobi can successfully protect Naruto, Naruto is stronger than you know. Just this idea that, yes, we're trying to protect him, but it's not because we don't feel he's strong enough, that we just want to do this before he has to even get involved. That it'll be a challenge once you actually do encounter him. But we do eventually get the moment where basically it's found out basically where Naruto is. One of the pains comes up, grabs Shizune, and she obviously knows where Naruto is because she was in the room when the Mount Miyaboku thing was figured out, and this is relayed instantly to Tendo Pain, and he basically has no reason to stay. And so as he goes to leave, he basically decides that he's going to inflict so much pain on the village so that they can truly understand what it is to feel pain. So we get one of the most amazing pieces of art I've ever seen in manga. This double page spread of Pain kind of hovering above the village, about to obviously deliver the almighty push attack. Really great art. There's so much detail in here. I'd love to just know Kishimoto's thoughts on how long it took him to just do those 2 pages. There's so much detail. But yeah, he basically, Pain destroys the Leaf Village. The only thing left is the Hokage monuments and like the basic outskirts of the village, but the entire middle of the village is just basically missing after this. And the only reason everyone hasn't been killed is because Lady Tsunade used her myopic regeneration jutsu to keep everyone alive, but it's got rid of the kind of, you know, the kind of rhombus, kind of the diamond shape, I mean, on her forehead. But it's after this, obviously, as we get little moments of like Sakura kind of screaming out for Naruto to please hurry back, that he arrives. And it is a really cool moment because it's not like he arrives on the battlefield ready to go. He arrives back knowing that something is up because they figured out that one of the toads who was in the village has just been killed because they see his name disappear from the list of all the toads. The toads, frogs, whatever. And so he arrives back, just they think they know something's up, but they don't quite know exactly, and they only figure out that they've returned to the village because the Hokage monuments are still there. But very quickly he figures out that Pain is in the village and that he has to fight, and he makes his big entrance in terms of the actual fight by getting in between Pain and Tsunade, who are about to fight, and just, you know, like, he's back as he basically annihilates one of them immediately. And then it's just the Naruto show, basically, as you see how confident he is now. And I think that's such a great moment about this kind of this sequence, is that he is so confident, and you get moments like the panel here, where we've had this comparison before that Naruto is very similar to the 4th Hokage, he's very similar to Jiraiya, but now he has basically surpassed them, just in terms of the amount of skills that he has. And then his attitude as well is kind of suited for it as well, and that he says, you know, there's no need for Konoha's Hokage to bother herself with the likes of them. You just sit back and let me do this. As he kind of gets kind of involved in the battle, it's you know, effectively what happens is, you know, like he takes out one of the Pains, but then Pain is just like, okay, everyone kind of comes together, all of the Pains are there, and it's attacking Naruto, and he reveals, you know, his frog kind of kumite. He uses the toad strength to throw one of the summoning animals away, uses double massive Rasengans to take out two of the summoning animals. It's just really incredible stuff. Obviously he's summoned there with 3 really impressive, you know, giant toads and Gamabunta and, you know, the 2 other guys. So like it's a pretty impressive thing, as basically everyone notable fighters from Mount Miyaboku are there to help protect the village. But yeah, we get the reveal that Frog Kumite, the frog, you know, taijutsu technique, actually kind of involves kind of like air punching, like you like punch so hard that you kind of have nature energy around you, that it actually extends beyond the just physical limits of your hands and arms and so on. So he quickly takes out a bunch of people, but then he also reveals that he has perfected how to use the Rasen Shuriken, in that he still has to have 2 shadow clones to do it, but how he's actually meant to do it is he's meant to throw it, and he has such control over it now that he can throw it and make it expand and just do a ton of damage as he kind of takes out even more of the Pains. And all of this happening as Pain begins to talk to Naruto about, you know, like why are you actually fighting me? Like, what are your reasons for fighting me? Like, and again, the whole idea of like, do you know what pain is? As everyone kind of reacts to Naruto's arrival on the battlefield. Like Shikamaru is like, what? We can't let Naruto fight alone. But his father obviously says, you know, if he's mastered Sage Jutsu, he's in a class of his own now. It's best we stay out of his way. Yeah, he takes out another one of the pains as basically it runs out. So we end the volume with Naruto's Sage Jutsu running out. The coloring around his eyes is gone. And we still don't know how exactly he has managed to get around the problem of it running out, but also not being able to combine with the elder Toad Sages to obviously gather nature energy for him. So big stuff has to go down still, but one of the most impressive kind of fights I think in the entire series, just seeing Naruto arrive and just be awesome. That he's finally at that stage where he doesn't still have a huge way to go before he can fight these really powerful enemies. That no, he arrives in the scene and is just one of the most powerful people there. That he is now basically above everyone in the village. And I think it's even fair to say at this stage in the series he's more powerful than Sasuke, because Sasuke has like the Mangekyo Sharingan, but he's used it so much already that his eyesight is beginning to go. And then he hasn't used the techniques enough to be kind of masterful at it, and then again, like if he overuses it more, he'll go blind. So Naruto, even though his technique has a weakness in that it doesn't last that long, I think just right now Naruto has just so many techniques that he at this stage is more powerful than Sasuke, until Sasuke gets the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. But yeah, that was volume 46 of the manga. As I said, pretty emotional chapter, as you know, the Leaf Village is basically destroyed. Kakashi and so many other characters are killed, like Shizune and stuff like that. And it's one of those ones that's kind of hard to believe what's happening. That this is how powerful I suppose the guy we initially thought was the leader of the Akatsuki, but is not actually the leader, is. But he's still demonstrating that, even though we now know that like Madara, Toby, is the leader of the Akatsuki, he's still so powerful. Now that we kind of know more details about him, and I suppose it highlights how strong Naruto now is because of how powerful Pain was, because he came in and wrecked the village and no one could stand up to him except Kakashi a little bit. Like Naruto has now become stronger than Kakashi. It's pretty fair to say, and that is a huge step in terms of his development. And as I said, that moment of just Ebisu reflecting on how far Naruto has come and the way the village sees him now, that's a huge step as well. That the villagers were waiting for their hero to come back. That they were waiting for Naruto to arrive because they had faith in him, that because he's done all this stuff before, that he can do it again. And that to me has a lot of impact in this volume, and it's just so well done. But yeah, I'm basically going to end it there. Yeah, as I said, I'll try and get volume 47 and 48 out in the next couple of days before the end of the year. Other videos I'll have coming up will be, I'm still waiting for Sword Art Online Volume 9, Alicization Beginning, to arrive in. I'll review that when it comes out. And then obviously Sherlock starts, Season 4 starts January 1st, I believe. I will be reviewing each episode of that as it comes out also. So look out for those videos in the next couple of days. But that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.